Hello and welcome back, everyone. We're preparing for our final game of the day. It's a late one, Cubby, but we're making it through, and I think that we'll still have time for dinner. So no worries. We got Immortals taking on TSM yet again. Immortals with a shellacking in game number 1. TSM Academy struggling throughout that entire game to figure out how to come back from that one, which leaves me wondering, what's their answer going into pick and ban for game number 2?
The Viper and a duo was a little bit too good in that last game, as those two were able to run the top lane. The LeBlanc was thrown top to match the Akali. It was not enough, as Anda's interference, a couple nice outplays from Viper, got that Akali over the edge, and once there was a lead in the solo lane, it was no looking back from Immortals. They did a great job of snowballing this one, as, oh man, we're at the later stages of the game even. The lead is already here, and this is just Immortals. When you're at this part of the jungle, taking like 2 or 3 for row trades.
This is before plates are down, by the way.
Yeah, this is that's kind of how the game went, as it was a tough one for TSM, as Anda. One of the big stories here, the fact that Hyper had a tough game, as this is a great play from Cody-san on the bright side, catching that stun was pretty cool on his part. But from there, it was all Viper, all Anda, and all Immortals in the first game of this last series that we have to wrap up Week 6 of Academy Kangas. And if I'm TSM, I think I want to play through bot lane still, but I got to do something to save my solo laners. It cannot get this out of hand. Viper cannot get to this level.
Yeah, and also just, I like it when teams will flex their players around, putting Haunter mid, putting Takeover top, but it really did not feel like Takeover was comfortable playing in the top lane against this matchup. I don't know if that was just a player thing, if that was a champion thing, what was going on necessarily, but yeah, Viper just got the better of Takeover. I think get Takeover against Pretty. Get Haunter against Viper, because Haunter will be that rock that can hopefully hold off the storm that is this Immortals top laner.
I mean, I can see the theory, and to be fair, if the storm from Hyper in that level 3 dive connects on Viper, there's not a trade, and Viper gets like dreadfully far behind. So that was a misplay that ended up costing TSM a lot throughout this game, as they just never got any footing in this one. And Immortals, I feel like it was like the Sandlot, you know, where it's like, we hurry this one up, gotta get home for the lunch break, one of those. As Immortals, they took down TSM pretty stealthy fashion, and moving into game 2, Immortals want to keep on proving that getting Viper and Anda on campus, this is the start of their season. A win here would make sure that this is a 3-1 start to their week, whereas TSM, they still, I feel like they're a stronger team with Takeover, but they had a tough one that game.
Definitely, and they saw the chance to bring it back. The teams are technically tied right now, so whoever wins this will move up and still stay, or be one game ahead of their opponent in the current standings right now. So it'd be TSM retaking that, Immortals actually surpassing that, and Immortals, I mean, we said the same for both of these teams going into the show, but Immortals especially, 7th place, I don't think it does this team justice, especially now with the performance that they're putting on. I'm expecting to see a big resurgence from them here in the second half and to finish in the top 6 regardless of if they're able to overtake TSM right now today. But I mean, you gotta bet on them after that kind of performance right there, especially since it was Anda's first time on the Viego. So if you're trying to prep against this team, TSM Academy probably were not expecting Anda to go for that, and they were thinking, okay, that's going to be the Viego in the solo lane, which is why they went for that LeBlanc, and then, of course, Lissandra came in. So the draft from Immortals, very flexible, awesome to see that kind of stuff, but also the performance on the Rift. So they got the best of both worlds here. They can draft well, and they can actually execute well.
Yeah, I'd love to see the return of LeBlanc, and, like, instantly everyone's just like, Lissandra, right? Like, I've got this pick in the bag, of course, a matchup we had. A very common mid-trade we've had throughout the recent history of League. Say, like, in the last 5 years, Lissandra's always been an answer.
We've seen it a lot in LCS, literally last weekend. Yeah.
LeBlanc's good into the strong solo laners at the moment. Now that Lee Sin's gone, she has a big problem against Lee Sin because just straight up can't kill Lee, right? And Lee does more damage in fights, she's able to live. So, yeah, the resurgence of LeBlanc, seeing these Lissandra players return, and to be fair, Pretty was not even in that matchup, but as the game went on, the Sandra, if you play off those ultimates and you have people get as far ahead as Immortals did in that last one, it's a pretty easy game for them to execute. So a really strong play coming out, especially, once again, Viper and Anda. Cannot say enough about the no-org top jungle duo on Immortals now in this season. They are here in Canada, and man, that was the game where they just absolutely took over the map.
And I hate to say it, Cubby, but I will pat myself on the back a little bit here. We were mentioning what TSM would want to play through. Is it going to be through their mid laner or through their bottom lane? And Cody Sun did, in fact, play weak side bot lane that game. So I just have to say it. Yeah.
Gonna have to.
Do you have anything to defend yourself, Gubby?
Well, I mean, that's what happens when you pick Xayah, right? So that's what I have to defend myself.
So it's a coach diff.
No, not a coach diff. Just, you know, you pick Xayah. It's the right way to play. That's all. So, anyway, I think that TSM playing through Cody Sun is definitely an option for them. I think Cody Sun and Yurson have proven to be a pretty strong 2v2 lane. But Keith and Joey have been slept on this season. I think that kind of like No Org, right? The story was always the top lane setups with Anda and Viper, but the bot lane has to do their job. Keith and Joey have done their job, and you know, with more than passing grades. As I thought Keith had a really nice game on the Kai'Sa. They denied it from Cody's son. He played it well, and I'm curious to see how TSM bounces back, because that game was pretty doomed after you fail that dive, and then Voldebear dies again, and then you save top lane again. Like, that game was pretty over at like the level 5, level 6 mark. And
then Anda just tracks Hyper everywhere. And
yeah,
like, they just continually. It was bear hunting season for sure.
Not
at all. They brought a shotgun, they brought a crossbow, they brought all kinds of implements to take down that bear.
Yeah.
I'm trying to remember what else is in the skin, all the different things that are sticking out of his back. Yeah. But regardless, we're into pick and ban for game number 2 right now. Immortals Academy on the blue side this time around, TSM Academy on the red, Cubby. This is our final game of the day. Let's close this out strong here. Taking a look at the bans, Immortals taking away the Lee Sin of the ranking, these solo laners. TSM Academy taking away Lucian.
At TSM specifically, also targeted at Hyper, known for his Lee Sin play throughout the semi-pro circuit and his time with Illinois State University. One of the reasons that TSM picked him up, really mechanically gifted player with just a bloodlust in the jungle. So obviously Hyper, tough game in that last one. We're going to have to see if Hyper can bounce back in this one, show that mental fortitude that we want to see. Whereas TSM, targeting the Ziggs, they don't want to see that out of Keith and the Lucian as well. That is a triple flex for Immortals. Very unique that Viper is so good at playing that champion in the top lane. Now with Xin Zhao taken off the table, Gwen's up. Curious if Gwen is just selected here. But instead, they have to go for the Nocturne. Immortals want to continue to drive home that early presence. And they're going to take the tempo pick that we've seen so many teams play so well with when it comes with to the Nocturne.
Yeah, the Nocturne, again, I've always loved this when it's picked later in the draft. It always surprises me when people lock it in right away, especially Blue 1, very high priority, because it shows a lot of what your composition wants to do. But, of course, Immortals, sometimes you can just get the right draft. It doesn't matter if your opponent knows what you want to do. You can still execute regardless. TSM, They have a couple answers here. Do they want to raise the gauntlet to the Nocturne? Actually try and answer that with dive of their own, or do they want to go for peel back instead? They lock in the Diana to start things off.
We could see a set to try and match that Nocturne early. Gwen is still on the board. If TSM wants to go for that, is going to be the set. Something that's interesting about the Nocturne, so we have some time while Immortals takes these next 2 picks. It's really strong because the Paranoia TP, you cannot respond with TP. We saw that in the first game today. Yeah. Miles couldn't get the TP in to respond to a play that was being made by CLG as they won a very clean Nocturne game. But it is a pick that you can punish in lane because a lot of the timers when Nocturne crashes waves, like crashing on wave 2 or wave 4, is timers that a lot of other champions don't have in the game and can leave you open to being ganked by a jungler. So you're going to see if Hyper, most likely going to be on the Diana, can sync up with the set lane, which I expect to be matched against the Nocturne, and maybe punish one of those timers. Something that is very unique to Nocturne as a champion and makes him open to be punished if you don't ward around it correctly.
Yeah, you got to make sure you're playing that carefully. But Immortals, with the rest of their composition, they lock in the Thresh and the LeBlanc. I was expecting maybe a Thresh plus one of those 80 carries to pair with the Thresh, but that just means that TSM's got to be paranoid here. They got to start banning out some of those because they also get this priority mid laner here. And they can get the LeBlanc against that set lane too. I'm looking at that as a potential lane swap here from Immortals themselves. Well, let's see what TSM Academy decides to ban away. Not 80 carries. Actually, go for
I
the
would
Jace.
think about taking away an Aphelios. Aphelios interacts pretty well with the 3. I know that you have Nautilus, but you can use the Lantern to escape a depth charge or a dredge line. And so I'd think about taking that away. Immortals, they see the dive. They want to take away Kai'Sa. That is Cody Sun's most played champion. The next one would actually be Tristana. That could be an option to take away as well. And TSM paying respect to Viper's Akali. It's damn good, and this tells me that they actually are kind of scared of the fact that Nocturne could go into that solo lane And keep in mind, Kangas, Gwen still has not been picked up, so that is an option as Immortals actually take away the Lissandra. So we're going to have to see if Takeover what the answer is going to be into this LeBlanc, and it is an insta-lock Silas. Okay.
Yeah, again, remembering what Takeover played. He's played a lot of melee champions, but Silas is one of them. He does have a victory on this in particular. So comfort back for TSM right now. Shows that they are putting that set into that top lane, however. So that means Immortals can use that information to their advantage. Do they want to keep Nocturne in the jungle, or do they want that matchup top lane? They're going to lock in their AD carry first, though.
Aphelios interacts so well with that team. Silas can't really take that ultimate. Everyone is very low range. And so Keith's going to feel really good taking that pick. Now we're just going to have to see if the Nocturne goes into the jungle or if it goes top lane. Viper usually has a unique counter pick up his sleeve. I'm curious to see if he has one here. That could easily be it. You teased the fact that it was going to be set top. He loves to play the marksman. That's exactly what it's going to be.
All right, you've been teasing this for weeks, Cubby. I have yet to see it in Academy, so I was starting to think that you were just straight lying to me. But we do get the AD carry in the top lane. The promise has been fulfilled. Viper is playing Vayne with no ping. He doesn't have the Canadian ping excuse anymore, so that means that he's breaking it out. And that means TSM, they run at their composition with the Xayah, so still playing a weaker side bot lane down here. So, I mean, I guess the Xayah still can put some pressure onto the Aphelios if the Nautilus gets the right hook, so don't get me wrong there. They could get kills, but presumably playing through more of their solo laners.
The good thing about the Xayah is that you have the Nocturne and LeBlanc diving in, and Xayah is very self-sufficient. So this is going to enable Yurasan to go try and roam and make plays, because he wants to pair up with the Diana and see if you can get Diana set to dogpile onto someone with a Nautilus. But what I'm concerned about, Silas has no good ults to steal this game. Nothing. You can block it with Nocturne first off with the spell shield. Doubling up on the block, it's not bad. Aphelios ult is worthless. Thresh ult is
AP scaling
in the middle of the fight. But and then Vayne ult, like you get AD and that's about it. So
yeah.
And I don't even know if I could get extra range on Silas either. So oh my goodness. I mean, and you could also match the Vayne into Silas as well. Vayne will absolutely murder Silas in that laning phase too. And so I really like this draft from Immortals. I think they have good answers into what TSM has, and it's really going to be up to Hyper to work with his support and top laner to try and dogpile onto IMT or get anything going. You can see IMT realizing the power of Vayne early. If they don't face check, they have a stronger level 1. They might just be looking for a late invade or late ward. Pretty can get creative level 1 with the W.
They're spotted out here by TSM. Yeah. They just dropped the ward and back away. All right, no early invades, just information gathering. Cubby, final game of the day. We've had a lot of close games so far, a lot of fun series, and this one will close us out as these teams are tied for 6th. The top 6 do make it to Academy playoffs and auto-qualify into the Proving Grounds. Rather than having to play through the Proving Grounds qualifiers, that means that you save a lot of time, get some better competition going into Proving Grounds, and these teams both desperately want that right now. Immortals on the rise, TSM we're looking at as well. Let's see who can take this final game.
So Viper's pulling the wave to try and get it to focus one creep, but he doesn't check the brush because Haunter might be in there. So Viper knows that with the lack of scouting, it is a possibility. Haunter to take fleet of footwork, try and utilize some more move speed to stay out of range of the auto attacks from Vayne. I do love the fact that we are watching this lane early, as it is something that Set really struggles with, and Viper is so naturally talented at these marksman picks. I'm really curious to see if he's able to find a humongous solo lead. So I'm also curious to see the fact that Hyper is pathing away towards that lane, so Monster's gonna have no help there. As Keith uses the wall to dodge out in the auto. That's really cute.
Nice. Yeah, level 2 is really hit by TSM. Play. That's flash out of Yursan, but Keith just goes around the corner, avoids it.
Yeah. Oh, so love to see the creativity out of these players, finding ways to dodge out. As that is really the pick that I'm looking at for TSM. It's got to be this Nautilus, right? You counter the Thresh in lane, unless Thresh is able to land those death sentences, which are a pretty tough interaction with the dredge line to get perfected. And then from there, I mean, the point and click R for Nautilus is going to be very important against the Blanc, Aphelios, Vayne. So I really want to see if Eurosan can get going. And the fact that Hyper is pathing towards this lane. The ward for a 3-wave dive would be set off. And TSM actually sweeping that out. So maybe Hyper sneaks on in here.
They could go for it.
Yeah.
It's at least going to be the bottom scuttle. So they will get the scuttle here for Hyper. Do they want to commit to the full dive? Keep in mind, there's no flash on Eurosan. And Keith and Joey both have all of their sums. So that means Eurosan's not going to go for any kind of crazy engage dive bot side and then flash out at the last second. Might make it difficult. And taking the top scuttle for himself, Viper with his hard shove. We expect this to kind of be the story of the top lane throughout all of laning phase here. Haunter will have a no good, terrible time. He does get a good trade onto Viper right there. Ooh, even a turret shot. That's a nice trade.
Viper knows, right? But Viper is not worried about that one. That said, Haunter with Set's just natural health regen, the Dorn shield. Very important. He is able to out-sustain the Vayne in that lane. Should have second win, too, in his runes. Should very much help in the melee versus range matchup. Something that... One of the reasons why melee champions are so powerful right now is the power of second win. Is Hyper going towards the Krugs. He has yet to clear that camp. And Viper, you can see, respecting that timer. So they've been tracking this Diana from the start. Good ward coming out from Viper. One of the difficult parts about playing these ranged top laners that if you mess up once, your game's over. And so I'd love to see him dropping that word, respecting that, showing his experience playing these and practicing these picks.
Still hard shove topside up 13 CS here, and Hyper will back off, so he doesn't even go and try and help out Haunter go for that gank. Giving a lot of respect to Viper right now, so Anda will instead decide to pass it towards the bottom side. Haunter trying to even shove out this top lane. Eurosan goes with the Hex Flash forward. Damage onto Joey. Death Sentence back. It lands, but no overcommit here. So it seems like a pretty slow early game right now, Cubby. Immortals were trying to speed run the first one, but this time around they're giving us a little bit longer to digest what's happening.
This does somewhat benefit Immortals in my book. I think that TSM level 6 can be so important for them. But Immortals, as the game goes on, they have Aphelios scaling. They have the ability to... Joey. Hyper's here.
Oh, Death Sentence lands. That's it onto Cody's son. Keith can try and turn it back. And now in the 1v1 against Hyper. Keith and no Joey, they can walk up. Joey's got to be careful, though. Dancing around. Does he want to go in? Does he want to go back? Hyper flashes over the wall. Yerson throws the hook, and that might have been your own Death Sentence there, buddy. He goes down. First blood over to Anda.
Maybe a quick dragon, too, if IMT want to set their sights on that. As Yerson, not the dredge line that you want to take. And setting up the wave to be easily took by Keith Aphelios. And things are going down on the dragon and the crab. So here, let's see if they end up trying to rush that one down. Credit to Takeover. He's actually put out this matchup really well. I didn't see the first few waves of the mid, but the fact that he is at this point in the matchup, pretty good. But Anda's here.
Oh, pretty much just have it. The Ignite, taken down. Takeover's going to live. Just barely. Has to go for a reset now, though. Pretty almost had that.
And that play is made by Anda. The fact that Anda's there meant that Pretty could play aggressive and is not at risk of being soloed out, actually, on the side of Takeover. And so when you take Ignite mid, you have to be really careful about playing around those timers and getting it right. A good example of Pretty getting that timer right. So he's able to not get dove there. Speaking of getting dove, Monster does have Hyper
on the top side.
Yeah.
Ooh, gets flash out of Hyper. Didn't even have to flash himself. Joey's up on the top side, though, so Viper has the support now. Going to chase Haunter down a little bit. But not finding him. Very respectful from Viper.
Viper understanding the marksman top laners and a good hover from Joey. He would have been calling for that as we get a second replay. TSM just split, right? A Hyper has to go up towards this wall, and once he flashes out, you are walking into a 2v3 guaranteed. So not exactly sure why Yerson ended up going for that play. It's not a winning play. A little bit of a mistake and miscommunication coming in from the side of TSM. As Immortals, they properly punish, get a small advantage, and I think notably, King, is this dragon is still up.
No one's opted for it early on. 7 minutes, 25 seconds into the game. But Immortals do find themselves with a slight gold lead early on. Obviously, that first blood will help them out there. And also, that gives them some priority around the bottom side. Yerson does have flash up now, so the Nautilus a little safer as TSM actually are getting some priority around the bottom half of the map here. They don't have that scuttle, but it's about to expire. And neither team's going to opt for that. Maybe your son roams up here because the Rift Herald is spawning very soon, so they could get a little ahead of that timer. Otherwise, you just look to punish Pretty. LeBlanc has flash. Your son just wraps around, is spotted out. Hyper's here too, but yeah, Pretty is LeBlanc and is not in danger.
And the fact that Immortals is surviving these windows where Hyper has level 6, you have the Nautilus that's starting to get to that point as well. The early advantage bot, this does very much favor the side of IMT, who, I mean, with this Vayne and with this LeBlanc, they can side lane Kingdom if they are able to get their side laners ahead. They also have the option, Aphelios deals very well with low-range champions in team fights, which every single champion that TSM has is low-range, so I really want to keep our eyes on TSM. I think this first Dragon, forcing a fight, potentially utilizing Haunter's EP effectively to A, get him out of this lane, but B, make a play around the map, which Set's going to be able to do much better than Vayne, is very key for TSM in the early stages of this game to try and get them off the ground, because if not, they're just going to keep on bleeding gold in that top lane matchup, just like what we see now.
That's the thing about the Vayne pick here. It's very good in this 1v1 isolated topside. Unfortunately, he misses that cannon right there. Yeah, thank you, observers, for highlighting that right there.
That's 5 push-ups.
Fun guy. Oh, is that the cost as the top laner for missing a cannon?
I'm just making it up on my own, but I feel like you'd enjoy that.
I do like that a lot.
5 push-ups a cannon?
I appreciate it. Fun fact, that's how Haunter got so swole. He used to be really bad at that, but now he's incredibly good, you know? He's getting fit, and he's getting good at taking those cannons, so...
Get fit with Kangas.
No, right now I just have it bits on my Twitch channel, but people always abuse that, so I'd have to take it off. Immortals, though, currently in the game state here, they're finding themselves with that same gold lead that they'd had before. The point I was trying to make earlier was Viper, in this isolated 1v1, going to feel very comfortable. If we get to team fight stages of the game, Immortals' composition, yes, the Aphelios kind of likes it, but the rest of the comp doesn't. They don't really have a front-to-back composition, which makes me a little less, trusting of this Aphelios, thinking that it actually will come online, it actually will be a threat, because who's going to peel for you other than the Thresh? Everybody else is going to try and fight for side lanes.
I mean, that's true in team fights, but if you're Immortals and you get in a 1-3-1 state where you have a Nocturne that can hover either lane as, oh boy, Hyper's in trouble.
He just goes in. Yeah, Hyper throws on the Moonfall, but dies. All right, there we go. First Paranoia is successful.
Those skirmishes are going to be so powerful for IMT, and now they can turn this into a top lane dive.
Viper misses the Condemn into the wall. That's a big trade for Haunter.
You can see just one wrong right click, right, where he's going for an auto attack instead he misses and he steps up. That's all that Haunter needs to punish this matchup, is he's trying to catch back up.
Anda's here.
Maybe wrapping around.
No Paranoia, but still can go for a Pretty. That's a lot of burst damage onto Takeover right there, who steals the ultimate back. And now topside, Haunter should be fine. He's got ult, he's got flash, he'll just take some damage under turret. Meanwhile, mid lane Takeover does not die to Pretty, but still takes a big chunk. Pretty, despite being counterpicked in this mid lane, has been winning a lot of these trades.
So it's a counter pick, but early it's really good for the Blanc because it's ranged in the melee. She can easily harass. And as the game goes on, things do get better for Sylas, but it's not necessarily a really winning matchup for the Sylas. I think Takeover just took it because it's comfort. I still don't see which ultimate he takes that's good. As, of course, Anda did make a play top and showed top, so TSM taking advantage of the fact that Anda was on the top side, going to take a free dragon for themselves. Immortals is okay with this trade. This is good for both teams, right? TSM, they want to group up, they want to fight dragons, so getting the first one is good, but it's delayed. If I'm Immortals, I'd much rather have Shelly in my back pocket and try and use that to get either the Blanc or Vayne very far ahead, so going to have to see where Anda drops that.
Yeah, it's still in his pocket. Can drop it top side, can drop it mid. I mean, even bottom, they've been pushing it. They took one plate already down there, but with where Anda's positioned, you got to imagine it's topside. His Paranoia will be up in probably about 20 seconds or so with that cooldown. Maybe he even waits that out. Otherwise, you could just walk up and drop it here because there's only 3 plates left. Viper has been putting in work.
He's rotating, yeah.
Yeah, even Joey's coming up too, so they're just going to hard commit. Haunter will not have a top turret after this.
The power of the Vayne, especially when it's supported and Viper hasn't made any critical mistakes yet. So you get that Rift Herald, it's a free first brick. Yursan was up here to hover, but too many members here from Immortals is going to get a little bit of harass and take over this topside jungle. Maybe a fight over the red buff. TSM's rotating.
They do have multiple members here. Mostly Takeover as well. Okay, Joey gets Pretty out to safety. And the depth charge is used. Paranoia. Immortals want to take this. Santa jumps in onto takeover. There's the death sentence. Silas pulled in. Has to flash away.
Oh, no.
Still burning down. Now it's Viper getting hooked in by Yurson. Almost falls himself. Has to flash reactively. Immortals biting off a little more than they can chew. It went aggressive. Not going to find any kills for it. Maybe I spoke too soon. Pretty gets the kill onto takeover.
Oh man, takeover not respecting the fact that LeBlanc might have had double jump. And that's a big loss, right? Because this mid wave goes over to Immortals, and because Cody's on rotated, means that they missed the wave in the bottom lane. Keith's going to be able to crash that. And just like that, Kangas, the counter pick top. It's 3-0 on the board, but it's a 4K gold advantage for Immortals in this early game. As we talked about the 1-3-1 lane kingdom, guess what? Pretty 2 kills up in CS. Viper, first brick up in CS, already has a Kraken Slayer. And just watch how scary this 1-3-1 setup's going to get from Immortals with the Nocturne. It's going to be very difficult for TSM to deal with. Really going to have to rely on Yurson and Hyper syncing up, trying to punish either the sides or the 3 in the mid lane.
Gold advantages to all of the solo laners. Viper's just going to take him down. Takeover's going to fall here. No, he survives. He's still alive. Barely lives through that. Kingslayer healing him up. Wow, Takeover just barely out of there. But man, Cubby, this is a very different look than that game number 1. This isn't that micro misplay topside where Hyper misses the Sky Splitter and doesn't follow up and get the kill. This is just Immortals outplaying TSM straight up. They're just getting advantages all over the map.
This is the Immortals that we wanted to see, too. Like, this is the Immortals that, once again, when they put together this roster, we're like, oh my goodness, Pretty's one of the best mid laners we have in Academy. Viper just won the whole damn thing when Proving Grounds. And it was really off the back of his play top lane. And guess what? They give him the Vayne, is what he's known for. The marksman, the mechanical top laners, and the counter picks. And Viper's back. He's on low ping. He's able to execute picks like this. And yes, he's, tumbled into a dredge line here and there, but still, the way that Immortals is playing around this it's perfect, right? It's supported, and pretty much it's unplayable for Hanser. Like, the fact is, even in CS is fine, but look how much pressure he's had around the map compared to Viper. Because he hasn't made a TP play, it's none. And now Viper might finally be in trouble.
Viper could be in trouble, though. Yeah, he doesn't teleport. He doesn't have flash. So how's he going to try and get out of this one? Yurson just throws out the depth charge. It's just that easy. Now the rest of the team falls up, lock him down, take the kill. Takeover picks up that one.
And so for TSM, this is what they need to do, right? Diana, Nautilus, how can you sync up and punish these sides? Good at step 1, but what do they lose? They're losing a bunch of gold and XP bottom. Their observers are highlighting. Pretty should be able to take that lane. So it's an even trade, right? Only 1 kill goes over to the side of TSM in favor. But the bot lane tower goes over to Pretty. And yes, Viper goes down, but better map play from Immortals wins the day in the end. The big key is going to be...
get the Herald.
Yeah, they do get the Herald. So if they can knock down with the Herald, then overall this play will be worth it for them. But at the moment, Immortals still have the lead. And with 45 seconds till this Dragon, for a team that wants to team fight and pile on, I think Immortals can take it at this point and should be able to win the fight.
5K in the lead right now. Yeah. Even shoving out this mid lane right here. And is on the bot side. Viper still heading top, but he'll have his teleport in a little bit. Godison has to ult defensively as Pretty was looking for the kill over the wall. That means Xayah ult down. TSM not having their cooldowns, these long cooldowns. 15 seconds for the Dragon, and Immortals are getting really aggressive in TSM jungle, but maybe too aggressive. Nocturne comes out, the paranoia, but he still locks down. Immortals throwing away their lead aggressively into TSM's jungle, and TSM will capitalize on it.
The 1-3-1, it's a little bit harder to execute, and Immortals are tripping up over themselves. They weren't expecting TSM to fully reset and be there in time to contest those wolves, but they are. Because everyone showed, another Dragon going over to TSM, but Viper in the top lane. He's got everything he needs to take down that turret, which I guess Takeover shows up, so he's going to take over that lane. He's going to pick up the Krugs. But TSM, they make the right plays to try and come back in this game, right? It's all about, can Nautilus and Diana sync up? Immortals have overextended twice now, and they've been properly punished, so good to see TSM get a little bit of footing in this game. They're still down pretty big, but it's how they have to play out their comp and how they have to come back in this one.
It almost felt like in that moment, Immortals assumed TSM were sending people topside to deal with Viper, because Viper was just hard shoving as the Vayne. And then Immortals send people in towards that wolf thinking, okay, well, they're going to answer Vayne, try and gank Viper, and we'll just take away their jungle camps. But yeah, TSM, they were ready for it. Pick off and get the dragon. That's now 2 in their pockets, and it will be an Ocean Soul on the Rift right now. TSM needs 2 more before they can claim that prize for themselves. But they are starting to, get some big items for themselves as well. So they're no longer fully on the back foot. There was a moment there where Mythics were completed for Immortals, and they were not yet for TSM, but we are past that point.
I'm curious if early, are we going to see a Wit's End coming in from Nocturne with the items he's sitting on? For Anda? I actually want to know now if, like, the passive, if you have a Wit's End, if that applies to everything. As maybe Anda knows something that I don't. But with those early items, those 2 do build in the Wit's End, so I'm curious if he ends up committing to that fully. As Immortals are returning to this 1-3-1, and now have Pretty in the top side. Vayne bot, but TSM, they have an angle mid. They might be looking for an engage. Can they find it? They don't.
They could go for it, but no. Hyper doesn't pull the trigger. Oh, no, but he does see Anda. Here we go. This might be what TSM needed. Catch out Anda yet again. The Nocturne all alone. Can he trade one back? The health bar is getting low, but no, not meant to be. Takeover gets the kill yet again. 3-1 on Silas. And they'll drop that Rift Herald.
Yeah, good play.
So, yeah, TSM can push.
Good play from TSM, right? They're finding the isolated members, grouping up, taking them down one by one. They will not get that turret, but this gives them time to catch all the sideways. That is very important. This is cute.
Okay, Viper, yet again, in the side lane, caught out. TSM, they just need to make pick after pick after pick. Viper gets locked down. Yeah, there we go. Gold over to Takeover yet again. He's getting everything. 4 kills to TSM, and they're all on their mid laner. Talking about carry performances, Takeover is primed to carry this one.
Yeah, IMT are not respecting the fact that when they drop members one by one on the map, they have to take a back foot. They can't be shoving in lanes all the time like this. They need to get everyone on the map and shove it together. So the fact that they're slipping up this 1-3-1 ever so slightly is giving TSM more and more windows to make plays, find kills, and get themselves back in this game one step at a time, Kangas. As those 4 kills now in Takeover. The Silas pick, we said, we didn't really know why he was taking it into the block. Like, it's a matchup that gets better as the game goes on. We didn't really see the ultimates that he wanted to take. But Takeover, it's got to be comfort for him, right? There is a reason in the end that he's going for this pick. And with 4 kills to his name, I want to see if he's able to snowball what he has, utilize the gold that he has to make this worth it for TSM. As did a good job of bringing themselves back in this game. This next Dragon, they're going to be on decent footing, and it's soul point for them, so they're going to want this real bad. They're going to have to see if Immortals can play the side lanes right, get a better setup.
And the thing is, Immortals' composition is not the best at contesting at Dragons. They have to play the side lane. They need to stay in their solo lanes or make picks here. Getting one out of Hyper would have been great, but that's flash out of Diana. And no kill picked up by Immortals. Also good burst on the Takeover. But as these Dragons comes in, TSM, they can just walk towards them and use their more kind of standard front-to-back style team composition, right? Cody-san stands behind the frontliners. Deer-san goes for the engages with Haunter and Hyper as well. And if Immortals try and fight them in that game, I don't see them finding much success. Gotta play through Viper in a solo lane as they currently are trying to have him push bonside.
I will take that trade of flash for flash on Joey and Hyper. As you can see, Joey's now has his sights set on Hyper. Flashless on this Diana. Trying to control the Baron pit as Viper's actually out of the side lane. They're grouped up mid.
Ooh, look at Pretty. It was a short one this time. We're right back into it, everybody. It didn't take that long. Thankfully, we were able to sort out that technical issue fast. So we're going to hop right back into game here. Yet again, it is Immortals Academy against TSM Academy. And the game is still pretty much... it could go either way right now, Cubby.
It's a close one. TSM have been playing their way back into this one pretty well. Playing out their grouping up, team fight setup, as Immortals have honestly made a couple mistakes. TSM is properly punished, so good to see from them. IMT now with their 1-3-1 comp with the Blanc Vayne. They have double marksman, they have a Kraken Slayer with Vayne on the Baron. They're going to start this fast. Can Pretty get a pick?
Alright, Pretty's playing goalkeeper right now. Haunter looking to go in. Paranoia is popped. Immortals used it earlier. So yeah, that's Baron. That is objective secured, but can TSM take the fight afterwards? They want this. They want the front to back, but 2 members fall instantly.
Green-white.
TSM, can they win this one out? Takeover goes in. Cody Sun still untouched on the Xayah right now. Takeover's in the pit, but he goes down. Viper gets a shutdown. Viper's still alive. And Hanser falls. Cody Sun, where's your front line now? Pretty gets the flank. The LeBlanc went all the way around the pit. Cody Sun's dead. It's only Yurson left, and TSM support limps away while Immortals secure the Baron.
They couldn't take down the Vayne. Viper lives, and the risk for Immortals pays off, and I love the use of paranoia there, right? Just turn off the lights. You have a Vayne. You have an Aphelios with good guns on the Baron. Just go for it. Full send for IMT. They take that Baron down so quickly. TSM don't have time to react to the play. And the gold lead comes in. Love that setup from Immortals. It shows you that they practice these marksman tops so much. They know how to play them out. Very unique to them.
Exactly. And Viper also takes down the Dragon, so that's stopping the Dragon's stacking of TSM. This is really good for Immortal split pushing composition. They can get a lot done with a Baron, even though it's still pretty early on into the game, because nobody can really 1v1 Viper right now. I mean, maybe Takeover could if they want to send the Silas down there, but currently TSM have Takeover topside.
Yeah, they need to send multiple people to grab Viper in any lane, and it's so difficult against IMT because, once again, if they're playing their comp out right, LeBlanc, Vayne, side lane, hover with Nocturne. That's the way that they can really try and turn things around, as Joey is hunting. They're not going to be able to find Yurson. And if you are TSM, it is all about the Nautilus combo. Who does that depth charge find, and are you able to take them down? As Hanser is going to be stuck doing push-ups and flexing behind that turret. He cannot defend this from the double marksman, as TSM and Takeover. They have to reset here soon. Try and answer the push from Immortals. They have the Baron empowered waves. Takeover's going to take this and then should base from here. As let's see how much Immortals can get while they have the numbers advantage.
They're looking for the inhibitor turret, and TSM, as of right now, they're not really defending it that well. Okay, they will clear out the wave. They save their bottom inhibitor turret on that push, but let's see what they can do on the next wave. They're still in Aphelios, they're still a Vayne. They take turrets so fast if they're left to actually auto-attack. But look at this, they're actually not even clearing the wave.
Yeah.
They're just trying to waste TSM's time. They want the waves to crash at the same time.
Yes, exactly. They wanted to crash at the same time, right? So you have Viper. They switched up their lane state. So Viper's going to be taking this wave on his own. Him and Pretty switch places. So now Pretty can jump over this wall and try and get some harass down. As Keith trying to rotate out the green gun. He doesn't want green-purple. Not the best combo for him. Would rather have something like Infernum with purple. Oh my goodness.
What was that?
Pretty is flexing on the flexer himself. Hanser on the boss. Was not expecting that damage. Quite frankly, we were not either. As, oh boy, IMT, they want this. They smell blood.
This is it. Immortals are going for it. They're going to try and dive in onto TSM. As I say it, though, they still need waves. They still need these inhibitors down. TSM at 4. Okay, I thought that was the pig. I thought that was Hyper going down, but he survives with the Zodius and the Flash. Immortals will not push for the end right here. But Pretty, my dude, what were you eating for breakfast? What has Immortals been giving you? I know that you got your top laner and your jungler in person now, but Pretty is also stepping up to the bat.
Oh, he's going for it.
He's looking for more.
Oh, boy.
Okay.
This is where things get fun on the Blanc, right? You're sitting at 5-0, almost at level 16. You have a blue buff. The map is all yours. Oh, boy.
He just gets out of Cody.
Yep. That's what you want to do as Pretty this game. You can force that ult whenever you have that ultimate available for the LeBlanc.
Is he going to kill Hanser again? What? No. Okay, the observers just... We're going on a journey right now,
It's a pretty show
I don't even know what to believe.
Yeah. We're just going to follow LeBlanc, you know? It's the playmaker. Everyone else is kind of resetting on the map, picking up camps, where Pretty's like, I'm picking up kills. Get on my level.
Anyone wasn't aware, we do have Pro View in Academy as well. It's just when Pretty plays. We like to watch what he does. It's pretty impressive.
For a second, I thought you were serious. I was like, what? Oh, no, it's just the Pretty cam. He's looking good.
Yeah. Pretty cam. That's actually a great name for a cam. A Pretty cam. That sounds like a Snapchat filter or something. Making his plays look pretty, that's for sure. Immortals now push Viper and Keith into the top side. The marksman up here. Gotta be careful. Hyper can get onto them. Your son's there. It's the trap. TSM loves setting these, and they pull it off. They even said double TP sit.
I mean, it's the best chance they have to come back, right? And yeah, IMT not respecting the fact they could be here. Let's see if TSM can respect the fact that Pretty's here. They're going to take the blast cone, get out of harm's way. But hey, shutdown gold going over to TSM, right? Fighting back, showing that they have some of that fight in them. Also, Wits End second for Nocturne. So if Anda is our interview, if they do end up winning, I want to ask him if the passive does apply that. It would be pretty clever. Obviously, going up against Takeover and Hyper, that's something where he gets a lot of autos off, gets your passive more, and gives you a lot of MR. So I like the build coming out from Anda, as he also has a stopwatch to go with it as well.
That's the thing. The stats alone might even make it worth it. I don't know. It's a pretty cheap item. So, and there's Takeover, there's Hyper, a lot of damage on the enemy team. Dragons up in 20 seconds here, Cubby. TSM, they have multiple members around, and even though they lost that third dragon, they still could look to take this one. But Immortals are not playing into their hand. They're positioning topside instead, because that Baron's going to be spawning at about the same time. Immortals are pinging it out.
On TSM, they feel like they have to take this. They have to get themselves on soul point. I don't think that scaling is in their favor. But oh boy, do they realize that they have to go blitz towards this dragon, and can they get through this LeBlanc fast enough? Because here we go, we're off to the races.
You also got to look at these super minions pushing in. There's no teleports
There's no
on
TP
Immortals.
to flank either. They can't TP to flank, so they can't make an angle. So this is just a doomsday scenario. IMTA say, we'll take the Baron. That is all ours. And now they have a second Baron, one more wave to shove in. This is so tricky for TSM now, and because they didn't have access to those TPs, they couldn't get any sort of angle on Immortals to try and get a really favorable fight while they took that objective. So those double TPs that you called out, Kangas, kind of come back to bite them. Might have been a way they could have gotten back into the game by going to that top wave. But instead, Baron for IMT, they ripped through it with the power of Vayne. Now they're ripping through the rest of the towers and objectives. And hopefully TSM's base, if you are an Immortals fan, might be the death push.
They'd already taken the bottom inhibitor and the mid inhibitor. Immortals only have this top one. Look at that burst. Pretty absolutely dirty on this LeBlanc. 10 stacks, Dark Seal, Rabadon's completed. Anywhere Pretty looks, TSM members will fall. This is going to be double supers pushing in every wave. Immortals still have the Baron. They can just let the super minions do the work for them. TSM, where's their wave clear? They got a Xayah. She's going to have to put in a lot of work right here. Immortals, they could look to dive, or they can just let the minions do the work for them.
Yeah, TSM not quite ready.
Oh, you're not with for the flash. He misses the hook. Death sentence in onto Haunter. This is the last ditch attempt from TSM. The desperation plays, and they're not coming through. They will take down Viper. The 1-for-2 trade. Maybe they can clutch this one out now, but with no Nexus turrets. Again, the waves will do the work for Immortals. They just have to stay alive. Don't die to TSM. Let the supers hit the Nexus. TSM will not be able to clear these out, but they're still fighting. There we go. Brady gets the kill. Cody's son, he answers it back, but there's too many minions. Immortals take down the Nexus. Immortals go 2-0 against TSM, and for now, will claim a top 6 spot going to playoffs.
That's so important for Immortals. I'm sure that, with Anda and Viper coming in, this is where, we're finally at full strength. The fact that they're able to 2-0 TSM, walk out of this week 3-1 themselves, has to be such a blessing for them to take home to the bank, saying, you know what, we had a tough start. We had remote players. They were playing on a higher ping. It's pretty tough to, realize the full potential of your team in that situation. But now that they're in person, they can play together. Man, do we see them already instantaneously improve, especially with the Viper now enabled to play the picks that he made his name for in the first place, like the Vayne. I know the scoreline doesn't look fantastic, but the pressure, the fact that they were able to take the Barons, the 1, 3, and 2 doesn't speak to how impactful that Vayne was this game.
That Vayne put in so much work. Getting that first turret to start off, putting Haunter behind, as we take a look at the replays here, he survives. He survives through all of this. Viper just barely, but because members of TSM couldn't take him down, this is a one fight. And Cody-san, he did his best. This was TSM's strength, when they can group up as 5 and actually go against Immortals in this kind of scenario. But when Freddy's able to get these flanks, when Viper's untouched, doesn't quite work out. And you feel for your son right there. He's going for the desperation flash hook. And sometimes you miss him.
I mean, the game's wrapped at that point, so you got to go for something, right? You got to respect TSM for trying to send it. And hey, that bush camp they set up, that was the right play. They caught IMT out quite a few times in their 1-3-1 setup where IMT was overextending. But in the end, the Baron, how quickly you can take the Baron is what saved them. I'm actually really curious who was calling out those plays, because that's something, once again, very unique to these marksman top. The fact that you are playing Vayne. You cannot pull off a setup like that if you're playing set top, right? It's just not possible. You don't take Baron as fast as a Kraken Slayer Vayne. So love to see Immortals taking out the unique picks, playing towards them, playing with them well, and taking the 2-0 up against TSM.
Well, Cubby, you had said if it was Anda, you would have asked him about the Wits End build on that Nocturne, but we actually have Pretty, the LeBlanc pilot himself. I don't think we can complain too much because Pretty, what a performance right there at the end. What a comeback story for Immortals here in the summer split. Congratulations on the win and the 2-0 day. How's it been like, man, having the team all together actually in one location playing as a group?
And obviously it feels really good. Finally, we can see each other when we talk and like touch each other. Like we are here, you know. Like this is serious now. We're not just remote, taking it easier or anything because we're remote. Like we're all together, practicing together. So it's been great. Honestly, we didn't get to practice a lot this week because we were traveling. We basically only got like 15 games of practice or even 10. I'm not sure. Like we just played like barely any games together, so it feels good to finish with a 2-0. And yeah, there's gonna be more to come for sure.
I like the sound of that, and I kind of want to lean into that as well, because I know that I pinged Viper before your match yesterday and kind of asked him what it's like now to be there in person. He said it feels like our season's starting now. Like this is where we are at full strength and we're like able to play. I think we got a good glimpse of your full strength in the 2 sets you had this week. And now that you're at, your season starting, what do you feel like the expectations are? What can this roster do? And how far do you expect to go now with this team?
I mean, our goal is to win Proving Grounds, obviously. We have a bit of a slow start because we basically start kind of later compared to other teams. So obviously, maybe our position in standings is not going to show how good we really are, but that doesn't matter. What matters is us like improving every day together and getting more on the same page, which is already happening. And I'm just very, very, very confident that we're gonna do very well.
All right. Well, I mean, as of right now, you're in top 6. We're past the halfway point in the summer, so that's a good place to be right now, getting that 2-0 over TSM Academy. So I got to ask, this is your first week as a team all in one place. What's the celebration going to be like, Pretty?
Yeah.
What you all going to do now that you're in person?
Well, I'm sad you guys don't have cameras because my AD carry support went nuts after winning this game. It's such a relief after so many 1-1s, and it's just probably just going out together. Maybe we'll grab something to eat. We're all very hungry. It was a long day today. And enjoy our off day tomorrow and just keep going on practice. Now is a time where we can actually like play together and practice.
Oh, that's
all
cool.
right.
Yeah.
Cubby, I know that you usually like to give your final any shout outs, so we got time for one more. The Immortals waited for us for production, so we can wait for Immortals. Pretty, any shout outs that you want to give to anybody at home watching?
My brother's name day was basically yesterday. So he's not awake right now because he has an exam tomorrow, but I'm sure he will see it in the morning. So I told him before the game we're gonna get a 2-0 for you today, and we did it. So it feels good. He's gonna be very happy to see this.
Fantastic to hear. That's so wholesome. Love it, Pretty. Thank you so much for coming in. Congratulations on the week. Great performances from Immortals, and hey, you're top 6. Good luck going into next week as well.
Thank you very much, guys.
Oh man, you can just see it like radiating, right? I mean, like I know it's like a 2-0, but it feels like I just get like a sense of relief, right? Like it's like we're finally playing like the style and like the play that like we know that we can exhibit. Really cool sitting down with Pretty, and best of luck to Pretty's brother on his exam tomorrow. That sounds fun.
Hopefully this goes both ways. Like because
exactly.
Pretty got the 2-0, that means that his brother is going to ace the exam, right? I think that's...
There we go. I like that.
Yeah. Brothers working together. Brothers helping brothers. Thank you so much, everybody, for sticking with us through the day. We had a couple of issues. Thank you, production, for sticking with us through the day as well and sorting through all of those. It's a bummer when that happens, but hey, we just got to keep rolling with the punches and do it what we can. Gabby, you've been fantastic to work with throughout all this. You have such a level head, man. Shout outs to you.
It's out of our control. If you are still sticking around the stream at this point, thank you for supporting Academy and supporting us. It's out of our control. It happens. Production worked their butts off to get the stream back up a couple times. We very much appreciate that. And yeah, I mean, I'm gonna enjoy my food tonight. I hope that you do too. Everyone else does at home, as we've got some banger LCS games this week. If you are on the move, think about tuning into the audio-only broadcast. You will hear the both of us on the air at different times. And if not, tune in the main broadcast. They've been doing awesome stuff. I love the pre-show content they've been having.
Yes, the replay files, so good.
It's back this week. Yes, I'm excited. So, tune in, support League, and if you are at home, hope you're having a good rest of the night. Thanks for tuning in with us. And enjoy whatever you're doing.
Make sure that you tune in next week. More Academy action coming at you on Wednesday the 14th. Again, 1 p.m. PST, same place, same time here. Twitch.tv/Academy and also Twitch.tv/Nerdsery. LOL. That is it for your Week 6 broadcast. We're signing off for the week. We'll see you next time.